There we go. Alright. I'm going. How you doing? Hi, Jed. Welcome, welcome. Kinda did a huge sprint to get this going, to start going here, but, okay, I think we'll be good. Let's turn this down a bit on my end. I'm doing good. I'm already still working on some stuff I gotta get going here. There we go. Yeah, I'm still just setting up the file just one bit. So nice and pretty for you guys. There we go. That looks good. Alright. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to see if there's anything more I need to do. I'll talk about it in a bit, that I've been a bit rushing. Even though I had like a lot of time, still things take much longer than you think. Welcome, Dakota. Let me get some water. Here we go. I don't know if today will be more fruitful than last week, but at least probably, I'll say, maybe less fourth-dimensional, you know, quantum mechanics trying to figure out what I'm talking about half the time. Today should just be regular animating, hopefully. I think there's like something I do want to do something. I want to get the phone in, but I don't think not time, because this is ending. Okay. We'll get going. Boop, boop. Alright. Start the other music. Whew. Okay. So welcome, guys. They're up. Yes, I think actually you've asked like a couple times. It's okay. It always feels a long time for me too between streams, so I forget if I ask anything too, I guess. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Yeah, it does feel like it's been a while. Thank you. Hi, cartoons. Welcome, welcome. We'll see if I'm gonna stay in the 2D zone today, so won't need my my glasses. These ones, but I'm just so chuffed that I've been able to actually animate them on. But anyway, hi, Buttercup. Welcome, welcome. Wow, wow, wow. Is that a woo 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 face? All right. Hello, hello. Let's see. Yeah, I've been doing good. I've kind of had a extended stay at home. Work's been apparently pretty slow. Yeah, on Wednesday my boss was like, "You got nothing pressing to do, you know, for the rest of the week, so take the time off." As like a, you know, like it's a business decision rather than me personally being like, "Oh, we don't want you here," and it's more like just like the business needs to stay afloat, so I guess having less people there to pay me instead of, you know, spending the company's money, I guess. I don't know. It's been tricky. So it was a business decision, but I got Thursday and Friday off this week, and I spent literally the entire Thursday. I spent Thursday working on the Splatoon Miku Twitter post that I made and a little animation. Make this week easier. I have the file, but could just show this easier. I made this. Didn't perform as well as I thought. I spent like literally 12 hours on Thursday making this. So, oh well. But if you like this, you can go to Yoshi Greenwater on Twitter, at Yoshi Greenwater, and I guess if you like it, that's okay too. Yeah. So it's a Splatoon-defied version of Hatsune Miku. Her weapons is a leak sprayer. Yeah. So I spent way too much time on it. So that's what I did on Thursday. Welcome. I'm gonna say it that way. But yeah. I find when I spend too much time on things, you know, like a more, not really quality post, but just like spending my time with it, then it gets less attention than when I, you know, get something just out really too quickly and just go like, oh, this is bad, you know, whatever. Then you guys eat that up. It's whatever, but you know, it's just tricky because it's like I don't know. Regardless, that's what I've been doing. Was this most of the week, or at least just for one day, but took the whole day because I had to I had my Flash version of the Squid Kid that I made like a couple years ago, and I ported that to Toon Boom, and then I recreated every single asset into Miku version, and then animated it and making it these different poses, and yeah, every single part is animated. I used some physics that were assigned to Toon Boom, which we'll probably talk about in the pointy one today. We have these dynamic springs that allow for real-time physics without having to keyframe it. Because that allows for the little tentacles. I didn't make the tentacles like back here. It's kind of hard to see, but it came some of these tentacles and this little thing, keychain thing. Stuff like that was not actually keyframed as it moves and bobs up and down with the motion. So saves some time, but I still have to if I want to exaggerate or add more onto it, like the long pieces here, they kind of jimmied around, but I added curve deformers to make it swing back and forth even more with more intensity. So, or add some more shape into it. Thank you. And anyway, yeah, and then on Friday I worked on Pip, trying to make her hair design. Original hair design was not that animator friendly and didn't quite move or try to rotate with the master controller here. Oops, I forgot one piece. I had to when I brought her into this file, she was using Sunny's color, so that's a leftover out to change her ear. But regardless, I got her hair at least a little better. It's using less pieces, so that's good. The ear thing is part of all the hair pony design, so that's not much of a on her right ear or screen right ear. It's not too great, but got this all going. So had to make some sacrifices here and there, like the little ring designs here. We're actually more closer to this side, but the way that I had to have this cutter with this hair piece was that it would actually kind of clip through even worse. So I elected to move that ring, these little rings off to the other side so that they don't interfere with how this hair is actually being cut. And see how that kind of gets cut between this invisible piece that you can't see. And so that's connecting and trying to hide the bottom of this hair piece down into here. So, but then the rings would get jimmying around too much with the rest of her design. So some weird stuff like that I had to figure out, but at least for now I can work on her other ear and recolor it real quick. I have too many palettes now, so I could just kind of go in here. But most of it is pretty close to what I want, so I'm pretty happy. At least that's much more easier to work with, because again, her original design it was cut between vertically sliced like here and halfway, and then this bottom part would be its own piece and just trying to like line those up in 3D space, and then it would like try to clip there, and it's like, ah, that had another piece back here, so I just made it into one piece, and then it kind of moves pretty good, and because it's only one piece, it's super consistent as it rotates around, so pretty good. Let's see. Question. What movie you like more, G4 or G5? Like the 2017 versus the 2020 or 21? I would think the 2017 one, the G4 one. I think it's because like it inspired me in more ways than to like make content. It inspired me to make the Paper Derpy movie in the first place. Yeah, I don't know animation wise if G5 really helped me as much. Because I feel like it's kind of standard in a way if I was animated. Doesn't do anything mind-blowing as much as like Spider-Verse has revolutionized, you know, animation industry as a whole, you know. Whereas Pony is like G5, it's like, okay, you added fur shaders onto all of them. That's cool. And they got cool designs. But I think G5 movie at storyline is probably better. I think with the G4 movie, they had like some extra characters like Capper and large sequences that's like were just for toys, like the whole Sea Pony stuff. If you cut some of those characters out, would it be just as a good movie? Personally, I would think so. So, but I think the world building of G5 is much better. So, yeah. There you go. Let's see. So I got Sunny here. And I got, what's that, a peg for zip? That's peg zip there. Let's clean this up. Right, now I'm using Toon Boom Harmony. It's in the description. To at least know what I'm using. It's not in there. Let's see. It's kind of over each other. That's fine. Just kind of move her over to the side. Kind of move her off screen. It's not your turn yet. Actually, looks like she could be closer to Pip if I can grab her. And let's disconnect her master controller. That's this one. So now we got that. And now it's disconnected so I can move it wherever I want. I have this master controller collection now. Pretty consistent. That's good. So this says Sunny's. So Sunny's master controllers, and then Zips, and then Pips. And they all do different things. They're all kind of magic and Toon Boom stuff. Where I had to set these all up. You know, I had to like input all of it, so it's not quite as much of a magic do it all for me button. But because I have to set up each individual pose and drawing, and then this is just an exposer sort of a thing where it's just like, oh, I want this frame that I drew and set up. Now show me what that looks like. So pose selector kind of a thing. Okay, so what do we got? G5 songs are better putting. I think so. Yeah. Same with like Sia in G4 movie. That was a little awkward. Let's add Pip into this scene. I think we're gonna work on this shot today. But I guess I can show you the whole thing. Let me get the storyboard. See all these fun buttons now. I can get rid of the background. And then we got this. Then we got Pip. Let's show what the whole storyboard looks like. So I can use an excuse to get some water here. We're getting there. I haven't had much time to work on the actual animation It's like so many shots that we started, but then didn't finish. So obviously these shots are not quite set up. Let's see, where are we? So we want Pip. The problem is that Pip's only actually explodes for like 30 frames. We gotta go all the way to the end and see if we can grab her here. That's Sunny. That's Pip. So you can label that for later. Insert. There she is. Okay. Okay. Let's grab her here. What specifically? So I can talk about it? That's the chat. Sorry, just trying to make it a little bigger. Windows wanted to zoom it in. Okay. Let's grab Pip here. Let's go to, oh yeah, she's small. I did literally make her like a head, half a head shorter. I did go in and say like, hey, that's try to make her a little bit smaller, but not that small. Okay, over here. Should be. Oh, scale is actually the right size. That's interesting. Still drink my water. Let's see. Actually, this needs to be one frame back. I can maybe tell by the shadow size. I don't think I changed that much. So maybe like might bigger. Yep, it's pretty good. Okay, so obviously her face is distorted in a way because that's just how I had to make the library work. I guess I could have like the last frame be a more neutral frame, but that doesn't really matter because you're gonna put her into a scene anyway and then you're gonna mess with her. That's Sunny. Is that Sunny? Like in the way corner here? Woo! So I need one. Let's get a, set this up to give me a display output, and we'll call this the Pip Master Controller. And so now I can go into Camera, Display, Pip Master Controller, and then there we go. So the only thing it actually now displays is just her controller. So if I swap to maybe Sunny's MC, then the only thing that actually will render in this camera now is her MC. So I could put them over each other, but I think that's not gonna work. But anyway, this allows me now to have way too many panels, but I can kind of go in the middle here and animate her. And see, their hair's kind of falling off. Interesting. Maybe because we moved her. Let's see. Set these to 0. And then we go out to here. And then I can move her. Maybe? Let's see. I might be having some technical problems with her controller, which it's not that bad, but it's a little annoying of how you think he set this all up. Oh, I know why. I don't. That'd be her physics. Oh, okay, yeah, her physics are setting that up. So I have a slider from 0 to 100% that sets up her dynamic springs, which are all of these fun buttons. These fun nodes determine her elasticity. So that's how I was able to Miku one, is that I was able to animate her hair without having to animate her hair. Let's just ignore it for now. And we'll set this up to be, I forgot another. I went through it like really quickly. It was like 10 minutes prior before the stream. And I was like, uh-oh, her colors are wrong. So I think I'll just recolor this real quickly. As quick as I can as I'm messing this up a little bit. There we go. Okay. That's good for future use. Let's get her face this way. Wings. Oh yeah, I've animated her wing flap. That's what took a long time as well, was drawing each individual frame. So this is on ones and frame by frame drawn out. So every frame is a different picture. Looks like I left. I'm spotting so many mistakes. This is fun. But it's good, because then I'm able to go in here and change it. It's actually a different frame. There we go. It's this one. So what I did was I had a sketch layer of like the drawing that I wanted. I can flip it. So I had like a very rudimentary fast sketch of like to draw this out. And then on a different sub-layer, I drew a more refined with a more precise vector pen instead of a sketchy, like actual hand-drawn. This is like mathematically figured out. What I usually do is supposed to delete it so that you don't see it. I guess what I've also could have done is added another like sub-selector attribute to say like don't render this sub-layer that I always put the sketch layer on, but I knew that I probably would have deleted them anyway, so oh well. Okay, see you Jed later. Let's close that. Let's open her mouth. We can make it maybe more neutral, because that's a smile, but we can make it more, it's kind of a little bit less. Can I get a little bit there? And then I can grab her eyes. And this one. This is one that I've had the most fun figuring out. Is that I can move the eyes into position. And then the eyes can then kind of stay in the right position that I want. So that's pretty cool, is that she can kind of still kind of look up and down without having to, that her eyes are kind of magneted to one spot. So so I made the master controller and then selected every headpiece here and then unselected this particular one up here, so that it was like the only one that was not selected. So when the master controller moves it around, it's not affecting this one that's actually moves the eyes around as a whole, so that they become still. So little tricks like that. That was fun. Welcome, I think, hopefully, Sasha. Hopefully, welcome. Yeah, welcome. Working on this. Let's see. What if I should do? I think I need to move her downward a bit. Make them kind of at the same ground level. I can even get a ruler and try to match up there. Something like that. Let's turn the background on. Probably have her be in front, a little bit in front of the background. So this is actually Z depth, so she actually goes up and down inside of space. It's real deep 3D depth there. Looks like there's no depth there, so that's interesting. Let's go into, there it is. So it's 0.11, and let's see what you are less than that. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if that's still a little broken, but it's not too much that I can do at this point. To fix like this popping in, I would have to go back to my original frames here. Finder. This is where she swaps all around for different poses. The problem is that you can see like that this is working, and so I'm not sure what's actually breaking it at this point. So yeah, I'd have to really figure out what's going on with that. But the whole point of this is that I can get, you know, the front face to a 3/4 like that, you know, don't have to actually draw it or anything crazy. So anyway, I think we got layout. It's saving it pretty good. Right, I was gonna make a master controller MC for that. I want to put a checkbox, toggle, show, enable disable node for pip comp. That's this one. And we'll add that. Hang on as I select this main composite MC. I'm selecting which composite I want to add this onto. Oh, good. Right, because it's a function, it doesn't actually become a MC. Master controller. See, so they're very specific Toon Boom little boxes here. That's what all these kind of stuff in the middle are master controllers. And there's different types, obviously. Like you have like a matrix one here, different style shaped matrix, sliders, and then a function one. So kind of get the whole gambit with those to use them to their abilities. So this one here is also a function one. And so with this one, I'll be able to move this into the right place. Yeah, I don't think any other animation software has stuff like this where you have to do with this amount of weirdness. Yeah, it would only be like a let me see. Maybe like a 3D one might have this kind of complexity, but even then even if I'm working with Blender, I don't feel like I'm doing this amount of micromanaging on this. Which is all these functions. I guess because they're sometimes GUIs, whereas like they're little boxes, but yeah. Started looking at this and it's like, oh, but most of it is just like setting the colors and then whether or not you want stuff on or off and being able to do stuff. So this is pip. And so what this should be able to do now is that if I, for whatever reason, I want to turn pip off, I can click this and then she can disappear. Because it's connected, because pip is connected into the composite, then she'll be unselected from all of her pip puppet parts. The pip pedal puppet parts are all connected to the pip composite, and so when you click the function button that's connected to that, it'll turn her off. Same with all the storyboards in the background, zip, and then Sunny. So thankfully those work, and they're just little checkboxes. But these functions that specifically do these composite ones, I think it means that they still will render. I'll have to double check, but usually sometimes they don't render, but sometimes they do. Might just depend on what kind of composite, because you can also switch this to be as bitmap, but then it changes from a trapezoid shape into a box. See that, where it changes? It also changes how all the parts are also figured out. So sometimes you get different results based on how it's actually set up. Which I think, yeah, I think she wasn't actually fully there. There we go. She was eaten up by the background. So this is a close medium shot. So that's right, her pretty close up to the camera. And then it's gonna zoom out. So we'll get that kind of a camera thing, which is actually part of the camera, which is also part of the 3D perspective. So yeah. But I don't know. I did these, you know, I was learning the basics, you know, one at a time. So I never really felt overwhelmed with all this, especially just looking at how crazy some of the stuff is. I'm adding more stuff than usual to these projects to kind of test myself so I don't really get bored making this stuff. Like I never tried using function boxes like this for previous projects. So I'm having fun. I'm learning new stuff as I go. But I know, obviously I know how to use 99% of all the stuff that I have here to its fullest. Excuse me. So I know what all this stuff means. So don't you worry. Just a little slow as I'm trying to select hundreds of assets just to move that down. Okay. I want zip MC. As I want to pose. I get the camera moved. The camera moved, it actually moves the entire reality. So let's get zip. Let's get her into same sort of position. With having less hair, it becomes less distracting of how complicated the hair gets. So we start turning her hair physics on, they start to blow in the wind, so you want to turn that off. So let's make sure that that's set up. Wings are set up. Mouth. And then eyes. So yeah, it becomes like super easy to get like the pose you want pretty quickly. But obviously the amount of time it took to set this up is a while. So it's really trying to learn how to do this all. So yeah, it gets fun. What I think I want to do is as we're laying things out, I think I also want to get her phone, Pip's phone. The problem is that I found some. Well, I guess we'll swap over to the other file, as I need to. I need to swap so I can get the phone, put it into a library, and then put it back into the animation file that we got. So let's set that up. 1 sec. I'm checking and I don't actually see the phone. I didn't delete it, did I? I feel like I did. I guess I could just import it. Import 3D model. Reps. Yeah, definitely now I'm looking at my file explorer. Let's do view content. I want to see which one was the newest one. Sort by date. 9414. Pitphone V3 sounds good. Single layer. Okay. Well, I guess you can look at this for a bit. Well, actually, it's huge. So here's the 3D phone. So if I select 3D, I should be able to maybe rotate it. Enable 3D. There we go. So now it's a 3D object. And so what I want to do is get these bips, go into the library, take this 3D model, right to modify. Let's just drag the drawing, maybe? Oh yeah, I have to do it from the timeline. Drag this drawing into here. Beep. Bit phone. Yeah, that'll do. Beep. So now I got generate thumbnails. Should just be one picture. Maybe. I think it's too big. Anyway, let's swap back. This one. Sorry, this is not fun for watching. So I gotta swap back to here. Because what I should have done was done this before. So, let's see. So now we're in here, and we're back into the animation file that we were just in. And so now this is our library, and it should sync. Pip phone. So I can drag this into the animation file, and so now we got it. Okay. So now with this, let's go back to frame 1. Oh yeah, it's not connected to anything. I can put it into here. Beep. And there it is. Okay. Cool. Okay, so now play with this all we want. Okay. Enable 3D. And scale. Make it super tiny. It's still pretty big. Let's add a 0. So that's about phone size. Okay. And I think my VC one here might not have took my... I might have keyframed it later. I can see if I have any. Yeah, that's why I keyframed it later. So now if I keyframe it at the beginning, that'll stay true. Okay. So, now we got phone. We have phone. What do we do? Problem is that it disappears after 1 frame, so we have to expose it for the entire timeline. Beep. So now we got phone. Now we got phone throughout the whole thing now. Okay. What I want to do is also sneeze. So, hang on. Okay. That's all part of the plan. Now I'm gonna be sniffling. I'm sure it was just kind of shows them all. I got a lot. Let's go to color. Don't need it. Right. So the problem is that I found that when you have the 3D phone, sometimes it doesn't work. Maybe we should flatten it in all axes. There we go. So we have the phone, but the problem is that the way that it renders inside of Toon Boom, because this is just an FBX, it doesn't actually also keep its lighting information, if any of that makes sense. Is that it basically doesn't know how to light it, so it just kind of creates this generic, like you can see, like it's not full bright, it has this like shading, like this underneath is darker, so when you actually render it, looks like Minecraft. But anyway, you can see that it has some sort of darkness underneath it. Let's see. Hi Seti. Ashikeshi. Busy weekends. Yeah, I am too. Especially on Sundays. I was thinking of maybe doing streams on Sundays, but usually that's kind of like half the time every other week or so is like family time. So I'll be literally not at my computer on those days. So rather than like trying to calculate like every other week or something, you know, or sometimes this week or sometimes it's a holiday or something like that. So it's like, instead of like making you guys try to figure that out on Sundays, it's just like, let's just keep it simple. So, but yeah, if I wanted to, I could have done, I could be doing Sunday streams, but I think it's just kind of, they're much more in the air for me. Not that Saturdays aren't either. I'm probably missing out a bunch of stuff too, but they're a little bit more consistent. So I don't know. But yeah, just wanted to show that. Problem is that this polygon at the top here is being lit with more light intensity than the bottom here. And especially on the inside, there's ambient occlusion. I think that's basically it, is that it's basically ambient occlusion where, I think, before I mess this up, ambient, I want to get the definition. Computer graphics, let's see. I'm good. I'm at Wikipedia. So you can look at this picture. So this is a Wikipedia picture. Center shading, ambient occlusion, multi-pairs build. These are German. Anyway, but the ambient occlusion is that it's the shading rendering that is shading and rendering techniques to calculate how exposed each point in the scene is to ambient lighting. Oh, okay. So you get ambient lighting from like one source, and then each side of the cube is being hit by a different amount of light, and so you get that kind of realistic lighting in a sense, but you can like separate it from different channels to get different lighting stuff. So what I always thought was that it was just making objects own the object itself would be casting shadows against itself, but I guess it's just like the standard. If you have one, like a spotlight, what's each side of it, what's the amount of light it would get, I guess. Oh, it is German. For example, the interior of a tube is typically more occluded and hence darker than exposed outer surfaces, and become darker the deeper inside the tube one goes. Yeah, you get it. So, problem is that there's ambient lighting from like one direction inside of Toon Boom's lighting system, and how it's displays and renders light, and so you get these ambient occlusion lighting stuff, which doesn't look good, especially when you put it next to Cartoon Horse, because it's like Cartoon Horse isn't being lit by ambient occlusion. So when you put this brick in here, it's like, whoa, that's not good. So I was gonna do some crazy stuff with like inside of Toon Boom and be like, oh, I'm gonna put a master controller onto the phone and be able to rotate it at specific points, make different poses. And then it'll be like, wow, that's cool. Then I'll be able to animate the phone as if it was his own kind of Toon Boom object. Like how I made the head turns and stuff. I'll be able to have different poses and be like, wow, that's cool. I was able to do that. Exactly. It's like multimedia, where it's like, that's not part of the same image. You know, it's not consistent with the rest of the art style. So I was like, ah, man. Like I was just trying to develop in that whole like last stream where I was like, let me make this master grill, isn't it cool? And it's like some of the numbers were off, but it's like it showed how it was working. But the problem is that if I'm just gonna like render this, you know, this is what it's gonna render as, and it's like, oh, that's a 3D object. It's so, because it has the lighting engine with the ambient occlusion. It's like, oh, cool. So I have a working solution. So let me get to you guys. Hello. Welcome to Eagles. I'm going to use the phone, don't you worry, but I have a roundabout way. It's going to be more time consuming, but it'll be fun to use. But yeah, welcome to Eagle. Welcome back, friend. Thank you. Will the phone play YouTube on it? That'd be fun. And I'll be able to, because I'm going to use this as, instead of Toon Boom, I'm going to use this as a prop and use it as a reference. And then I'm going to bring it into Blender. I'm going to export a background as a plate, horse as a plate, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to need to render the phone as a separate plate, because I'm then going to go into 3D Blender modeling software and then put them into 3D space and then put a higher quality phone asset in and be able to use my full bright lighting system render engine, and then it'll look much more consistent. But of course that means I need to bring it into a whole new software and then render out every single frame on separate plates and then composite that into its own thing and then put that into a video software so I can then put the rest of the 2D shots that I already have. And so it'll be a little complex, but I think that'll be more worth it. So yeah, that's the plan. Hi legit, sorry. As you can see, I'm still weirdly tech savvy and just trying to figure this out. Coming up with more roundabout solutions to things that don't need it. But welcome, legit. That's one of your streams. Thank you. Let's see what anybody else can see. Oh, they still use. Well, for character animation, I would think that most of that is still literally frame by frame with real paper. And then it's just scanned in and then digital ink and paint. I know what you mean. That's most of them are starting to get into that crystal anime that I didn't watch. It was like they were made out of crystals and were all 3D real animated, and Ruby and those kind of series are kind of the video game one. Definitely those ones are fully 3D with the Toon shader on. Most of the slice of life and manga animes, I think those are still made by real pen and paper and then just kind of scanned in. So, but I think some animes are actually made in Toon Boom, so that's interesting. Or there was like this test for like making anime inside of Toon Boom, which didn't really look like anime, but it looked pretty cool. Yeah. Don't get the hate. I think it's, well, like, you know, like early 2000s cartoons like Invader Zim and Futurama would have like what was it? Also the Avatar Last Airbender would have 3D models as like mechanical objects, you know, like tanks and rocket ships and spaceships, and those would be 3D modeled with a hit or miss Toon shader, which they tried their best to make it look like the rest of the show with how they were animated, like how they would have like an outline and certain shading. But as soon as it starts like doing tilts or twists or like really show that it's a 3D model, then it's like the illusion is broken by then. And it's like, oh yeah, you're just using it as a using a 3D model, which looks very obvious in early 2000s cartoons. But nowadays, you can barely tell. Like, some of them are like super well stylized to look like exactly like the same style as the rest of the characters, and it looks incredible. And it's like, wow, we could have real spaceships now that look really cool and look in style with the rest of the tone of the rest of the show. But most of the time it's just like something that would be tricky to draw frame by frame would be like the 3D objects, which again are like the more mechanical style stuff where it's just like it's much more impractical to try and draw stuff in perspective if it's gonna be, you know, moved around a lot. Like with this, I'm using this in the same kind of principle where it's like I don't really want to draw this phone in every dimension and try to figure out what it looks like if she is holding that at one angle, and it's like, oh, then she kind of like does like a hand gesture and it like would mean that the phone kind of rotates. Do I want to like figure out how this would look in perspective and then try to like draw it and then like keyframe it in between it? And it's like at some point it's like I don't want to do that. Not to be like lazy or anything, but it's just like the practicality of it is much more easier to just kind of go like, okay, I just want to please just move this over and animate it that way. So let's see, just trying to, I'm seeing why I have to grab it actually. Okay, cool. But yeah, if I wanted to I'll probably get into this pose later, but if I want to have her hold on to the phone, and if in full bright mode, it would look pretty good. But if she's like, oh yeah, that old thing, whoa, you know, tell me more, and then she's like putting her arm over here, and then it's like had to animate it from like pose to new pose. This is why I wanted to use mouse controllers, because I can't fiddle with this 3D thing. And then it's like at a different angle. And it's like trying to figure out what the difference between those is. Like, well, this side would go mathematically a little bit less, but it's like perspective, so I guess it'd be this way. It's like this part will be this way, and it's like, so it's not really animation friendly to like practically figure out some of this stuff. If you want it to be like nice and smooth and perfect, and it's like, ooh, yeah, might as well just figure out don't reinvent the mousetrap if something else can work. But of course, the problem with some of this is that I can't really animate it. I keep having struggle with just trying to rotate it at the right angle that I want. Because I want to just have freeform rotate, but I can only really go this far. I have to like use these wheels, which I never like. In Blender, you can just like press grab X, and then it'll just rotate on that axis. Yeah, that's how much trouble that was. Yeah. There we go. Whew. Oh boy, gotta wipe my brow after just doing all that. Like, oh jeez. Exactly. But yeah, just like how tricky it is to get this going. And then if I had to also try to figure out how to draw it in space, it's not fun. I'm going at the top and resetting the transformations. Okie dokie. Anyway, we haven't really animated today. Most of it was layout. Let's get going. Okay, but now I got everything that I want in this scene. So I need to... should be fine. Because now I know that I'm gonna make this shot. I'm designing this shot now in the mindset that I have now is that I know because the phone is gonna be in it. I know that I'm gonna bring this into a 3D space. So now I'm thinking that I might not need to have a clip to have Sunny stay inside of the blue window here, the blue square, because that's like the reflection that we figured out. So I don't need that clip anymore because I could literally put her into 3D space and have her behind the window. I guess I can see what that looks like, but I think because the background itself is not really designed this way. Yeah, that doesn't work. So this will work out better. Okay. And I think what I want to do is also figure out background. Figure out better storyboards. I think some of these boards are less than ideal. I have different story beats that I want to hit now instead. So right now, that's pretty good, but I want to change some ideas here. So I want to have it be more... Let's get rid of Sunny. She doesn't need to be here. Refer to boom model. Okay, so what I want is Pip to be this one, and I want to start her. Let's see, there she is. I want to start her more. Just gotta like look at her phone. See, like I'm just bad at just drawing boxes in general, so. So instead of doing this, let's see. I want to have it be actually like, oh yeah, I wanted to have it a completely different picture at the start. So I'm gonna have a new picture. I want to have the phone take up the whole screen. So it'd be like, kind of fill up the whole screen like this. They got their hooves. And so this will be kind of curved back out. So right now we don't need zip at this point. So all you would see would be the background and the phone. So I guess I can move this over. I lost my picture. Where's my picture? There. Let's make this a little bigger. And we can kind of tilt it to be more exciting. And then we'll get, go away. And then sometime later, I would like a camera flash from the inside. So you see these little like lights. And the phone itself can move up a little bit to be like pew, pew. And so the story now will be no, I should reveal. Reveal the two more of this way, and then we'll get like a more disgruntled reveal of the two to get their different personalities. Where Pip is going to be much more excited about it. Like looking at the phone to look at her picture that she just took. Okay. I didn't see it. Plasma, welcome. You know this person. Thank you. Okay. Get the reveal. And then let's have zip look up into the distance. So just kind of like look up, you're like whatever. You're like looking down a little bit. And then look up. And then this is the moment where the reveal is, where now she's much more. I'll have to make more room, but that's okay. Let's do that now. So grab literally everything here. Well, not actually the bar there. Want to move. This might be a lot. Let's see if it doesn't explode. Yeah, this might be too many things selected. With Blender, you can actually see how many objects you select. It's like, oh, here's about 300 objects with a billion tries. The Toon Boom is like, I have no clue how many things I just selected. So I moved it from here to here. So I think I want to add like a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so now I want to go back into my pim zips. These two layers. So I have a little bit more time. For her to instead have a reaction of like, whoa. Select it. Whoa. Like shock. And then, whoa. Pip, meanwhile, let's go on your rear phone. And then swim these down. She's gonna be looking through the picture, and then by the selfie reflection of that, she's gonna look at the picture and then see Sunny in the background, and then she's gonna be like, oh, what's that? And then maybe like look up as well. So for here, we're gonna get that same sort of reaction where she's maybe like a like put the phone closer to her, and she's like inspecting it more. Like, what's that? Oh yeah, and the fun part is that if we use Blender, then with that, you saw how I had like a green screen as the screen itself on the phone. I'll be able to replace that in Blender, which I don't think you can do inside of Toon Boom, where you can, I'll be able to change the texture of the picture inside of it. So that'll be cool. And I'll be able to actually have it maybe like a picture, or like I'll be able to actually animate it too. So it could be reaction or anything. Like she goes to a different app or something, it can actually have animation inside of there as like a graphic. And because it'll be mounted onto the polygon itself, so that whenever it rotates in space, I don't have to, like a Toon Boom, I would have to match move and figure out the pinpoints of like each corner, like as it moves in space, and it just be like way more work to do that as well. So that'll be great. Line, don't need that. Okay, and because Zip's already seen what's going on. Cool. All right. Zip is going to made a little nearer. That's cute. Zip is gonna get into her position a little faster. Kind of still like making sure she still has eyes on everything. She's still looking up, where her focus is still looking up at Sunny. And then we'll need this picture. We'll need a new picture of Pip standing. Actually, I don't need that leg, as this one will be phone leg. Do that a little too quickly. Okay, that's just for the zoom out. So I did not need her legs earlier. As we zoom out. Don't need this picture either. And now we can have the phone be closer to her face, like that. And it should be getting real close. Meanwhile, Zip is ready to go. She gets her wings up. And then, instead of them flying together, I'm going to have Zip have a new picture. And she's going to lean over and grab Pip. Still eyes on the prize. But instead, she's going to be a little bit too far away with his extendo arm. Grab Pip. And then there, then I want a different picture, so I'm going to draw. I think I need to draw Zip first. So this one, instead of being here, Zip is going to drag Pip off, and then we'll get a funny face. Wow. Question, are you a good drawer? I would say no, but at least I can get my ideas out with minimal strokes as possible. And I feel like I have good sense of just be able to rough things out like this. I'm trying to get those flow of motion without it being, you know, it's not going to be Renaissance nice drawings or anything. It's going to get the right emotions of what I want. And I feel like that's sometimes just as good. Because most of my, you know, artwork is, especially like the Miko I did on Thursday and Friday, like that was sketches over sketches and just drawing over and over. And like the wings I showed, like I had that sketch of like the wing, you know, being like this ball, and then be able to have like some sort of guidelines, and then draw like these little lines like that. And so it's like, I know the principles, but it's like if you like really look at it, it's like, oh, that's not good. So then you go over it with real lines that are then able to then curve, and then kind of use these vector lines and then get the shapes then that I want. So I feel like I'm more of a vector artist, more because that's like the final product is what you're gonna see is gonna be these nice vector lines. And so it's like, that's more what I would more associate myself with than it being you know, strictly a drawing artistic. Something like that. Yeah, thank you though. I'm trying to, my toe has been going the wrong way this whole time and now it hurts. Hang on. Let me straighten out my toe. Ow. Okay. I think I need to set my scene a little longer. And I think we're gonna grab all of these. But I think I've always been trying to practice as I go, but I've always been kind of neglecting it over time as well. Like those how to draw books and stuff is like usually just, they turn out okay, but they're always like these bushy versions of it. And sometimes I get like too particular with like the, you know, step 3 of like how to draw, of like, oh yeah, you draw a square first and then I'm waiting for it to load. And then you draw to like the guidelines or like the building blocks of the drawing. You try to draw those too perfectly that by the time that's like when it's actually needed to draw the final lines, so to speak, which would be, you know, what it's actually going to look like, that by then it's like I lose interest or like then some of the skills kind of fall apart, because I feel like I'm more of a sketch artist who can just like get the roughness of my ideas out of my storyboard style drawings and then leave it up for like later to figure out what the real drawings are going to look like. So yeah, so if you kind of look at this, it's like you can kind of feel what this is sort of saying and what it's kind of conveying. This is like a smear frame. Yeah. I think some of the timing needs to be fixed there, but kind of zip kind of moves over. It does slide though, but that won't be part of the animation. So, but if I handed this to someone overseas or someone, you know, who might not understand, I might need to go back and clean this up and say like, oh well, he's really here, zip's really here, so I need to make sure that this makes sense. So there we go. So it's all about clarity, to just make sure that everything's bold lines, but I've seen storyboards that are like, looks like works of art that are, you know, they look, the storyboards look way too polished and have like shading and like extra like on model, and it's like way more condensed and it's like way more detailed than the show itself sometimes, and it's like, huh. Like I guess that's good, but I've also seen some storyboard bibles or tips from storyboard artists that are like, no, just truncate it. Just if you have a design, you know, of a cartoon character, it's like we don't want to see it being perfectly on model. It's like there's no point of a storyboard to be perfect, you know. And I always feel like, because I always have different ideas as I go, I feel like it's much easier to just get something out and then get the energy of it and then be like, cool, now I got this going and now I don't need Pip there. Zip. Pip needs to also go away. But we'll get some guidelines back there. And we'll get the phone. This will be the final joke. Is that the phone, which was here? Is that the phone itself is gonna flip around in space? And so we'll get these kind of whoosh whoosh kind of lines. Get this kind of like smear frame kind of feel look to it. But yeah, like the Bibles and stuff would say like, please do not draw your storyboards with like 100% accuracy. And I agree, because like it doesn't actually help as much as you think to have perfect storyboards. or if you just want, because as again, like I keep changing my mind. So if you spend like time-wise, if you spend like say 10 minutes per board per panel, like a comic book, like you would have like a comic book, you would have like different panels. You wouldn't want to spend, if you had to make, if this was like an animation, would you want to spend 3 hours here, 4 hours here, and then 6, and it's like 1 hour here and like 5 or something, and then it's like, wait a minute, that's a long time, you know, per panel. What if you could just, you know, for storyboard, you know, to get things going and just for layout, when you just want to spend like maybe you could even spend like 10 minutes on it, you know, on this one, it'd be like, cool, done, you know. Or you could spend like way too long and then be like, whoa, for just like one little panel, like you draw like one horse that's like, you know, I'm ready to go. Just like a really, you know, establishing shot of a horse, and it's like, cool. I could spend 3 hours making this, you know, nice and like perfectly on model and be like, okay, let me spend the time to like, you know, draw the hair and be like, oh, this, you know, it's like Rarity or Fluttershy or something now. And it's like, okay, let me draw her out. And it's like, let me sketch her out like on a whiteboard kind of style. And, you know, I'm trying to get, we got the tail. It's like, oh, but it has the little swirly at the end of the tail. It's like, oh, but she has a little bell. Or it's like a little bow. And gotta draw that. And it's like, oh, no, how long is this taking? You can time this out and be like, whoa, this is taking a while. Animator mad. This is the wrong way. Well, this one's like, yeah, let's draw that out. Boom, done. You know? So it's also like a time commitment. It's like in a studio sense, you want to be as fast as possible so that the studio doesn't have to spend as much money. So you want to be good, but not as like overly produced is what I would think. Obviously, I haven't had any studio experience, but the closest I've been has been Mid-Nightmares, and it's been self-funded with the director. So it's like, it's very personal. That's like, if I spend too long on something, then it's like it'll start hurting the director. You know, like personally, to be like, uh-oh, I'm like using his bank account, you know, to fund it. So it's like, oops, okay, I spent too long on this. Maybe I should have done something simpler, or, you know, spend a little bit less time on it. Because what if the director said like, ooh, I don't want her facing this way. I want her to face this way with more emotion. And it's like, oh no, but I drew this, and this took me 10 hours to draw. Oh man, do I have to spend another 10 hours to draw her facing the other way now? Oh man. So that's always my weird pet peeve. That's like, why'd you spend so long on that when it's like, the director says, oh no, but she has to now face this way, and be like, huh? And it's like, I don't want this picture anymore. But too bad you spent 3 hours on it. Because I want this one. Where now, I need to then, you know, the whole thing about storyboard is that you want to get as many designs and like ideas out, you know. And it's great if it's as quickly as possible. So you get these whiteboard type sketches where I'm thinking like on a whiteboard where it's like you just have like a dry erase marker. That's what you get, is you get this fat pen. You have to draw something as clean as possible. So it's like, cool. So that's my idea, is that you want to be efficient as possible. So that's what I got here. So whether or not I'm a good artist doesn't matter too much as I can get my point across and make sure that you guys can also see what I'm doing as well. So I feel like we just kind of stick ponies are just as on the precipice of like being pretty good. So what I'm gonna do is add another drawing, kind of rotate that around, and then I'm gonna get I guess I have to get a super cartoony long arm. Get that in. Oh no. The timing on the scenes are not synchronized. Get a new picture. Onion skin. I want to turn off future. Wish I could do that, huh? Make it always the present. And then get the phone. And then same sort of space. but now she has it. Which I don't really understand how hooves work like this, but whatever. Grab. It's possible. Let's grab all this. It's also like when you're working, it's a little bit easier to not have to worry about every single line. If I had to like move 100 layers or something of lines on top of each other, that'd be a lot of work. I can start as unselect that. Also kind of like maybe it starts to drop, and then this would also kind of grab towards it. Boop. And then after that it'll disappear. Let's make that into a no exposure frame. And then zip's pretty much gone here, so we can put that into a no exposure section there. So I think the timing's off, but hopefully you can sort of tell what's going on. So something like that. Oh boy. Okay. I like where we're going. What's the time? I can't tell. Hour and 20 minutes. Okay, so we got about 40 minutes of animation, and then a little bit of time for toaster time. I haven't really had lunch. All I got is some water. I'm gonna get some more water. Actually, now we're in a good stopping point here. What is this always happen? Excuse me, where I'm always choking on water. It's so good. Okay, what I want. Excuse me. Thank you, Seth. Let me get some more water, apparently. Okay. Now I'm back from, it's not even waterboarding myself, I'm just choking on water. Okay, so what I want to do, let's see where my timings are. Let's see. These are okay. I think I want to move, these boys. I want it to be like when Zip's like, I'm ready to go. Like when she maybe like lifts her wings up, maybe. Maybe this could be a little faster. I'm wondering why aren't these synced? They should be on the same zip thing. Be like a shoo, shoo. And then you're coming with me. Yoop. Get the phone. So what I want is more time here, definitely. Definitely more time. Okay. So let's expand timeline a little bit more there. This way. And let's add like 4 or 5 frames. Yeah, I think there was one time where it did get scary of like, it's always liquid, just like trying to swallow, and yeah, and then yeah, my parents were like waiting for like 30 seconds or more. Actually, I think I might have been at work and I started really coughing, and it took like a coworker like 20 seconds more. It's like, are you okay? It's like, oh. It could have been a little faster reaction, but it's okay. You know, guy was like, you know, and it was getting really bad. Ugh. They just get, I just get too, you know, get too happy with drinking it. I was like, whoa, I got I'm gonna stop talking about it now. Hey, we crashed. Okay. Actually, I can use this one. Okay. Poof. I'm just trying to think of what was the last thing I did? Like, what was the last operation? I know I selected like literally everything, and then trying to move it over. Was I just trying to get it back into the? Oh, what was I trying to move the scene markers? Was that it? I think I was trying to edit the scene markers. Yeah, we're actually back. Let's see. That looks pretty good. Let's add a couple there. Beep. Okay. Well, actually, I think we're okay. that was weird. And don't say like Flash, you know, crashes more, because you get into these more complicated, intense programs like this. They eat it up too. Okay. I wonder if it didn't take my timing. Yeah, I think we're back to where the timing for the ending is not there. So we need to add it to be, again, those 4 or 5 frames. Actually, yeah, we'll see where we are, but I think, oh, this is working. Maybe because we cleared the cache. That's also sometimes good. So if you have a program open for too long, you actually run into having too much maybe like a memory leak somewhere. Trying to add more time. There we go. That still feels fast. Interesting. What's going on? Let's go into the times of days to see if there's anything that we can glean from here. I think this needs to be actually closer. Not that fast. Maybe we got 3s. So I don't think we need it to be zip it back. We could just have that be there. So let's go back here. I wish these were a little bit easier to use, but because I would like to just be able to drag it. Even Premiere, you can like just drag it easy. So this is a little annoying. These little color bars at the top, to like, you see, like I have to like manually add in numbers to say how long I want the shot to be. Let's save it. That looks saved. What are you? You're Sunny. Okay. I should call you Sunny. You're not Sunny. You're Zip. Zip. Sunny. Ah! Using the same name. MC. Top. And then save that. And then... yeah, this is why they recommend you to make separate files for every shot. So every time the camera changes. So otherwise you get into these problems where things start to go a little upsetting your ravioli. And I always drag the little color markers as well, so that's not fun. Okay. So I just wanted like a little tiny pause at the end for you to get that joke. Otherwise, if it goes, you know, beep beep, and then like if it goes beep beep beep, it'd be too fast. So I want it to be beep to like grab it so it has enough hang time on that. That was it. That's all I wanted. And then we end on there. Hang on black for a bit. Okay, cool. So I think we timed this out a little okay. Bring that back a bit. Bring that back a bit. Add. See how kind of tedious this gets. Okay. So, what we got now for this shot is just that. Okay. So I can go back into Pip and Zips models, and now that we have a better idea of what we want, we can start to lay this out with the models. I could call them puppets. I could call them rigs. You know, it's all what you want to call them. But I do know that I feel like having these guys be a little closer to each other might be for the best. Okay. And now we got the phone, which we can go back into here. And we're gonna... It's gonna swap between... Ugh, okay. This is gonna get just as complicated as that. I want the phone to be parented to the arm. I'm trying to think what it ought to be. Is that a good idea? Is that if you move arm, then phone move? Maybe. I don't know, because it could be. Because you, problem is that you might swap between which arm is the controlly one. Oh boy. Anyway, let's call this something. P phone. It's kind of yellowy. Okay. It's good to label things as you go. I usually do this for all my projects, because it is actually way easier, way nicer to have something labeled and be like, oh look, I know exactly what all this stuff is now, rather than untitled adjective. So let's add keyframe, and then we know what pose we want it in. So I can go to top, I can move it towards the screen. So I just wanted to rotate it, but I apparently moved it. Just want to grab it exactly where I want it. And I think this way. 90. Move it over. See where my bounds are. I don't know, it feels a little archaic to try and play with it a bit like this. Rotate. Nope. Clicked the wrong one. I want to move the green one, but it's the same color. So I'm not changing the scale, I'm literally putting it closer to the camera. So the size and how big it is in relation to everything is actually consistent. Actually, I want it to be flipped because they're gonna take selfies, which should actually be this way around. And see if I spent like way too long trying to draw the opposite way of it, like the opposite design. Who knows how long that would have took. So this is where it's better to have an actual 3D model so you can actually just kind of rotate it around and be like, okay, I want this one this size and this angle. And then there we go. Easy peasy. And then we grab Pip's arm. So I guess it'll be this one. And so we'll just kind of drag this over. And pose this. See if I can move it. Oh wow. There we go. Wanted to be in front, but oh boy, okay. Not making it smaller in size, but not in depth. I know it's hard to see because I'm pressing different buttons to be able to achieve that. It's like this is Z depth, but this is scale. So yeah, it looks the same. I guess what I want to do is add some sort of twisty. Would probably also be good as well as setting up maybe like an alternate hoof shape. Oh, cool. It fits inside. I think that would happen, but it's like just cool to see it. Let's be something like that. And grab this. This is why it's nice to have them be. What would have been nice is to have them be in the same same parent system, but can't win them all. So what I want is maybe to move it, not change scale, but just to move it a little bit closer to the camera. Same with this, move it closer to the camera. Okay. So, I got that. Let's see. Got the camera flash around here, and timing wise. So now I can go in and try and animate that, hopefully. And again, I'm not going to use this phone inside of Toon Boom as an element. So this is more for my own reference, so that I can look at this later when I bring this into Blender, so that I can have better shading, because otherwise it does get that uncanny multimedia look. So instead, I'm gonna grab the leg again and be like, let's like, I'm gonna use my own phone and be like, click, click, click. I'm moving my own phone. What would you do? You would click, maybe like kind of move it back a little bit and then tilt it up. Okay. That's why I do photo reference and try to figure out exactly what you do is actually important. So you kind of rotate it up and then maybe rotate it a little bit that way. Maybe that's too high up. And then do the same thing, but continuing the motion. Don't want to do that. I want to move the actual. So now we got beep, 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 and then we settle back down. Alright, because I'm just moving these deformers. What's this one? Is that this one? Nope. Looks like that goes up for some reason. What's moving? I'm just trying to see which of these. Something has a keyframe, but I don't see a keyframe here, so I'm like, what's keyframed? What's going on? Because I want it to be still, but something's moving. What I can do is close everything and be like, is there anything actually keyframed at that point? See right here. We got the camera keyframed. Why is there a keyframe there? So now we isolated it, and we can try to figure out, is there a reason? It's possible that it might actually be here. So when it swaps. So, you gotta figure out these little mysteries as you go. Because it's like I see something going on, but because there's always something that if something's moving, but you don't see a keyframe on it, then something else is probably in factor. So I've had that kind of problem a couple times. Ooh. Oh, cool! When you zoom in, the boxes have become bigger. That's fun. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't really like the way that Toon's rotating stuff works. Let's see where it has to transition from here to here. So that's fun. On this pose, so okay. So I guess we could get the final pose, then try to find an in-between in there. So the phone has to then go all the way down to here. This arm also needs to go back. We can get this sort of, because we're only Charlie Brown wall kind of animating the pose. We only see them from the neck up here. It's okay that everything outside doesn't exist. Let's rotate. That's how I feel like when I'm moving it. And thank goodness my thinking is that it will be good thing it's right side up, but I'm thinking that the rotate axis point is a little bit off, but whatever. Phone. Okay. Let's get camera, display, zip MC, and actually pip MC. There you go. So now I want to hide front leg, hide phone. For here, I want to set up her initial pose here. I'll just get these specific poses that I want to hit and then go in between it, which sometimes works, but I felt with the way that I animated Sunny's, it sort of didn't work, so maybe we'll just try to get the same kind of hits that I want. Yes, that would be awesome. Thank you. What design? Boop. Oh, that's Sunny in the back. She's full. Okay, I want to get Zip's pose. I think that'll be fun. I'm thinking, trying to think of her expression, something fun. Let's go to Zip. And let's hide Pip because I can do that. So on first frame, kind of have her kind of look towards, maybe towards the center. Get some sort of a shish. Some sort of like stupid wide smile. But like upset eyebrows as she is in pain. Taking this photo with Pip. What we're gonna do is I should go back to the default display. Display all. Oh yeah, that's why. Can't see it. Yeah, let's get. Always good to exaggerate it. It's rule 1 in animation. Yeah. I see some other color designs on a might need to also figure out. Yeah, because this should be this color. And less over. Just do the same thing. Cleaning up the puppet as I go. Yeah. And then Pip reviews it, and then Zips will then go, oh, I'm too cool for this, and then immediately go into a, I don't care. Let's see what I got. I got her already looking, so what's the next step? Is that a little bit there? Let's try it about there. Camera, display, zip. Okay, so I wanted to flip all the way around, maybe? Yep. Maybe just something like that. And then just kind of look over there, but more neutral. I look surprised. I want it to be more. That's confused. Let's try. Let's bring these down. So I'm gonna grab these, the actual bips. Is that one eye? That's 2 eye. Let's make it downer. Might have to recolor these ones as well. Be careful not to make it stern, but just like maybe I can make the that's a bit too much. I want it to be kind of like bored or just kind of like not really teed off or anything, but just kind of. want it to be kind of bored or just kind of like, I don't really like this, but doing this for you. And no choice, whatever. Let's go back and recolor these again. I feel like I made these pretty good, but I guess I just forgot to 100% it. There we go. Thankfully, that doesn't take too long to do. Okay. Camera. Oop, her eyebrows. I want to make this one about there. She looks sad. So maybe it should be more flat. Let's take the mouth maybe and try to get something more like that. Take the whole head. Go away, Pip. There we go. Okay. Pip kind of stays there for a while until she like truly reviews it. And then here is where Zip realizes that something's amiss as she looks up. Let's get Zip. And so now we'll get her to like look up a little bit and be like, 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 what's up there? Yeah, that kind of actually kind of works. Let's grab the mouth. Yeah, the mouse controller adds keyframes on like everything that I've made and selected, so I can actually delete this keyframe and it should go back to where it was. But of course it needs to still kind of work with the 3D rotation, so I still have to sort of rotate it, but I can kind of go through and kind of erase keyframes that don't need to be there. You gotta go. That's okay. Thank you for joining. I super appreciate it. But I'll be able to catch you next one. Have a good day. Thank you. See you next time then. I think. And these kind of like super brief, or not as developed motions yet. Like I don't have in between here to here as anything yet. I can actually play with the timing a little bit better too. So if I feel like this one's too fast, then I have less stuff basically to work with. So it's actually really nice. So for here, we zoom out and then we get into the action pose. So let's get her again. Let's find out where my, because the camera moves, that's gonna get annoying. So she flips around. Is that a more primal, I'm ready to go state here? Let's get into a more, I have to save my friend emotion. So instead of this, And move this up. Yeah, there you go. See that just by making this go up a little higher. Always exaggerate it. So now, whoop. Still want to look up and get that going. Let's see. Where are you going to go? I think I misread that then. Okay, thank you. Let's get into a more serious pose here. Also like to align my eyebrows so that they're more closer to the curve of the eyelid. So I can kind of get the curve and then kind of put it downward a little bit. And we'll get into a more action-ready pose, so we need to get her whole head and body into the motion here. Actually had the Inkling one, the Hatsune Miku Inkling one, I added some 2-point constraints, and I was able to like bob up her whole body up and down. It was a nice squash and stretch model. I'm thinking I might want to do that on her, which shouldn't mess up my mouse controllers, I say. So what I want to do is, I guess I could just add a 2-point constraint onto her. Beep this into here. See if I need a peg between here and here. And then put these into each of these. Because it's still connected some way into there, it should still work. Actually, this will be the whole caboodle of the model. But it should work. Let's see. So I move this one. Yep, that's working. Move this one down. Move this one up. Then if I start to kind of move her around like that. Where if this needs to be connected? Yep, okay. So this one works by having a peg at the top and a peg at the bottom. And if you grab the top one and then translate it, you didn't get this squash and stretch kind of motion. Where it literally squashes and stretches and then squashes. So what I would like to do is also make one specifically for the body. So before it gets deformed, let's add another 2-point constraint and add 2 more pegs. So we get peg here and peg here. Whoop, okay. And peg here, and this should fix it. There we go. And do the same thing again, but literally just for the body now. Top of body, bottom of body. Translate position of bodies. Now we can do this. So this allows for stretch or squash as I do that. So obviously this is super helpful, and so now I can animate very specific amounts of squashiness. I can animate squash and stretch without having to be super exact. Now I can kind of move her downward a bit and then grab her neck and move this along as well. So I animated her squashing down without having to animate too much. And I also want her wings to be up. So I'll grab her wing position frames So I also frame by frame animated her wings having a flap. And so I can get them to be up. And it's not that they're in a pose. And if I want, I can kind of move this over maybe. Look at that. Put it all together. Might need to move Pip. Or someone needs to move. Let's get her one of these moves somewhere. Timing's a little quick, but because I literally only have keyframes on a vertical timeline, I'm able to then separate those out. And then if I need more frames here and there, then I can do that before I start to really animate it. So, like for here, I don't have many keyframe represents to. If I had like 100 frames, you know, just on every frame, then changing one aspect is kind of sealing your doom in a way of like, oh no. Instead of having to change, I would have to change 100 frames instead of like the one that I have right now. So it's real nice to have fewer, get it to look as good as possible, be happy with it, and then move on to then animating it. So this is more like a pose to pose kind of style instead of going. It's still linear, where it's like I'm posing them in sequence, but I'm posing them at certain frames, at certain positions, like a frame here, frame here, frame here, frame here, and then I will go back in time and then animate something else on her on these couple easy frames, keyframes, and then go back through and make another part, another part, another part, another part of her body, and then smooth out between all those pieces between these two pictures. So it's an evolved process, but you can see like how a lot of the Toon Boom infrastructure and how this all this structure kind of helps out a lot, and the mouse controllers and the head turns and stuff helps out a lot too. But most of it is like you can see like I still have to do all of this, you know, I still have to set this up and still have to draw every single asset. So it's not an animate button that I can click. It just has a bunch of different tools that I can use to then be creative with what I want, rather than, you know, like this isn't gonna take, these tools aren't gonna make animating automatically, but sort of it does, but also it's like I still have to input all the drawings, so then I can sort of interpolate between different poses. But yeah, so but yeah, so we got pretty far. We storyboarded it, which took most of the time, but we got these couple of these poses. Oh look, there she is. She's still looking. I wonder what she's on. But regardless, let's go to toasting time. Oh boy. Let me get some water. I'll try to drink it slow. Maybe it's also probably some might spit. Might also be in here. How we doing? Give me a call out. Oop. I'm under the water. Yeah, give me a call out if you're still here, so I can see if I can talk to you. If you guys have any other questions about anything, that'd be a good time. Yeah, I've been doing good. But yeah, that Thursday, which was Inkling Squid Animation Day, was intense. Because I definitely wanted it to be done for Splatoon 3 launch day on Friday, which I did get. I got a physical copy, went to Target and was like, hey, do you have one? And they're like, yeah, we got like 10. I was like, cool, all right. Yeah, so I got Splatoon 3. I haven't played it yet, but maybe I'll do some more animation today, work on some of the movie tonight, and then as a good stress relief, maybe I'll play Splatoon later today. So that'll be nice. I also got Hello Kitty Amiibo, Welcome Amiibo Animal Crossing cards. They were like a set from like last year, which I never picked up, but now that I'm into Hello Kitty now, I'm getting into it. I'm liking the Hello Kitty characters. I think they're awesome. I like Cinnamon Roll. It's like a white rabbit dog thing with a swirly tail. That's my favorite character. I was like, man, all right, I'm into this now. Let's see what you got with the amiibo cards. And I was like, oh well, are these like the other Animal Crossing cards where, you know, they get 6 out of 400 of the villagers or something? Like, oh man, do I have to like get more Hello Kitty cards to collect the whole set? You know, this is gonna take a while. Be very expensive, you know. And I opened it up and I was like, cool. I was like, oh, I got all the characters I want. Wow, it's like I have all of them. This is great. And I looked at the, you know, the ID card, ID part of the cards, and I was like, cool. I got 1 through 6 perfectly. They're in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I was like, oh, huh? So I looked it up and it's like, yeah, there's 6 cards and that's what you get. And it's like, why were they looking like the same kind of packaging as if the gacha ones where it's like you don't know it's a lottery of which ones you can get or not. Like I never really, I looked at everything. It's like it doesn't say on the packaging or anything that it doesn't say there are 6 cards. You will collect them all by buying this. So I was like, oh great, perfect. That'll do. So haven't done that yet either. I've just been busy. So I'll have to try that as well. But yeah, I've also heard that it's weird that you can only scan so many at a time, or you can only get a certain amount of furniture per day. Because each card apparently will give you a villager that's modeled after the Hello Kitty series as one of their characters. And then you can invite them to the camp, and then they have a whole furniture set that's based on Hello Kitty characters. Excuse me, and then you can collect those, put them in your house and everything. But yeah, it just seems weird that you can only do a certain amount, and I guess you can only do 1 villager at a time. So, and I guess they stay around for the whole day. So maybe it's gonna take a whole week to or more to get everything. So. It's like a whole process to like get them all. Like you paid like $5 to get in everything. And it's like, cool, I get this, right? And it's like, no, you have to, you know, do this in sequence, and you know, you gotta do Animal Crossing real time. Isn't this fun? So, oh well. I'll probably just do cinnamon roll and have fun with that, and I don't know. Play with the other ones later. Let's see. Thank you, Judd. Thank you so much. Thanks for staying the whole time. Super appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you. But yeah. Let's see though. Is there anything else from you guys? Because I could always rant on other stuff. Oh yeah, there was a D23 Expo. Yeah. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Keep me company. Thanks for the interaction and questions. Yeah. Oh boy. Let me get some water actually. Just noticed how like the animation of that is like slapping my face with the water. What if I could add like little water splashes like as it goes up, like, you know, as it like flies out. It's a little too fast. Yeah, with the Disney stuff, trying to think if I don't think there's anything, and obviously if things come out, then I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll watch that. I'm not like, with bating breath, like, oh man, the Inside 2. Oh no, I can't wait for that. I'm never like that for like movies. I don't think, unless it's like certain ones, but most of them I'm like, okay, this one's out. That's fun. Yeah, but I'm not really in a rush. I guess I'm not like. I don't know. But the ones they revealed are they seem fun. They're all very one Wikipedia or a paragraph summary of all the movies, so it's hard to really know when or not I should get excited for them. You know? I was like, it's a movie and here's one actor and maybe one detail. Isn't this fun? So it's just hard to get into it exactly right now, you know. If there's nothing else, I think well, I should be able to end this now. I don't know. I don't think there's much more I could say. It's my mouth's really dry. And yeah, there's no one else. I don't think anyone else is here. That's fine. To anyone who's like actively chatting with me to ask anything. I think we're good then. Oh, you're still here. Thank you. I thought you said bye. Wait a minute. I am a dude. Okay. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. I don't know what to say now. I guess I'm a dude too, but I guess I like the Derpy profile. I guess I used the Derpy Character Animator. I used Adobe Character Animator to create the Derpy puppet for April Fools a couple years ago, so I never really intended it to be my VTube model, but it just happened that that like the Adobe Character Animator is weirdly perfect for VTubing. That's like, oh, I can bring my original Flash assets directly into here and have minimal problem because it's all Adobe. And it's like, obviously it works, so I'm happy with it. So it's like, I didn't want to recreate and like start from scratch because it took me so long back then to make this puppet to begin with. That I think by now I probably could change it, but I don't know what to change it into. So I was like, it kind of represents my old profile and everything. So I was like, it's fine. Oh yeah, I remember it showed 16, that Canadian Flash show. It was actually made in Flash, I think, and with Adobe Flash. So yeah, I don't remember much of the characters or story, but I think they're just like in a mall the whole time and just having wacky teenage level adventures. Yeah. I think it was fun. Yeah, I didn't watch much of it to know anything. But I think I recognized it, one of those characters, yeah. Ooh. Do. Otherwise, I'll try to turn off now. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna sign off. I think I do need to eat lunch. We're out of stuff to talk about anyway. So, thank you guys again. Guess I can. Do I still have my hug? Alright, I ran out of hug. I went through everything. I think I used my hug button for one of those other buttons. Oh well. I'll wave then. Maybe I can do a little woo woo woo. Okay. Thank you guys again. We'll continue with this. I guess next time. I think I'll animate. Yeah, maybe not. I'm thinking, because I just added that now. That's like I could. What would it be the matter? Let's see. So for sure, let's say next week we'll continue with the G5 animation for next week, and then that'll be the next shot. So that'll be the final shot in the story, and animate from there. and then I guess we'll play it by ear of whether or not I want to have more streams of cleaning up the animation or like real animating, or whether or not we can do a poll later, I guess, to see whether or not you guys want to see the whole process, because that's actually going to take a while, and I have to reanimate stuff and stuff that I've already done on stream that took a while. I have to reanimate and actually like clean up animation, and it's like that kind of gets sort of tedious. So it's like I just wanted to show more of the overview process and show them more crazy stuff that I can do inside of Toon Boom and stuff. And I guess now Blender. Yeah, so maybe, yeah, next week will be the final shot, lay that out, and do the same sort of animating that we did today, and yeah, go from there. Right now, I just want to see like how the Blender composition would look. I'm trying to combine the 2D planes inside of 3D to see what that looks like, because that's how I animate to the Paper Derpy movie, where it's a 3D model set, and then the characters are literally flat planes, like a piece of paper. They literally are flat, and then just shot it with the camera at a certain angle, so it looks like they're not flat. Looks like they're in the scene. So, but anyway, let's see, we'll see where we can go from there. So, yep. So next week will definitely be the last shot. Animate that, see where we go. Probably just lay it out, and then my thought was going to be like, should I work on it on my own time to animate the cleanup stuff and the in-betweeny stuff. So, guess we'll figure that out stuff next time. So, anyway, thank you again. Thank you. Alright, for realsies. Alright, bye guys. Bye. Bye everyone. Bye. Alrighty. See you next week.